Hello, friends. It's just old Uncle Larry checking in. What is it, Tuesday or something? Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. Is that right? February 6th. Yes, that's right. Tuesday. How's it going out there? Everybody good? I've got my pedal show cup. That pedal show. Sweet boys, those that pedal show guys are. I occasionally check in on one of their live streams, and it's always fun to chat with those guys. They're sweethearts, man. Good dudes. Episode 275. Homeskoolin program, or the program, as they say in the South. And man, it's crazy. We're getting way up there. We better start getting the posters ready for the 300th episode, Ziggy. We better start doing that. I've got my old 58 double neck out today. God, I love this guitar. This guitar is so damn good. Jesus God. Let me show you something. Let me show you something here real quick. Dig this. Middle sound into a Tweed Deluxe. Somewhere back there. Can you see it? Tweed Deluxe. Middle sound. Next pickup. Down the street you can hear her scream, "You're a disgrace," as she slams the door in his drunken face. Now he stands outside, and all the neighbors start to gossip and drool. He cries, "Oh girl, you must be mad. What happened to the sweet love you knew?" This story leads and starts a scene, and his tears all the blood in the garden green. And so castles made of sand fall in the sea. Here's a cool chord. A major 7. XO6604. A major 7, add 9. It's a sad day in Nashville today. An old friend of mine has moved on. Toby Keith, country singer. I haven't seen Toby in a long time, but I used to play on his records all the time back in the old days, mid-2000s, back in those days. I always thought he was a lovely guy and a very smart businessman. I remember thinking, man, that guy really knows a lot about the record business and the way shit really works. He was definitely on it. Mills Logan, my dear friend who was the engineer on that Cliffs stuff that we did, him and Toby were really close. I think they haven't made a record that when they weren't together in 20-some years. So I texted Mills this morning and said, man, sorry about your loss. I know these guys are really close. I want to play you something real quick. Back in 2007, I played on the Toby Keith record, and I did some nasty Sonny Landreth shit on a song called Big Dog Daddy. Probably nobody even knows this is me on here. But check this out. At the end of the tune, it starts cooking pretty good. Listen to this. Here we go. Here it goes. It's a rave up. It's like an old Chuck Berry kind of rave up. But here's the ending of the song, about 2:30 into it. Here you go. Check it out. Oh, Larry. The idea, some cooking shit on there. But yeah, man, he was a cool dude. He battled with stomach cancer for a long time. Sorry to lose him. He was a good dude. Rick Beata texted me yesterday and said that the video we did is up for 400,000 views. Man, that thing is cooking, man. Doing really well. Doing a lot better than my pitiful videos. I think we get about 15, 20 views. And a lot of people really said nice things about the last couple of videos I put up where I was talking about the Epiphone guitars, giving you a little history lesson. I think Epiphone guitars are just obscenely underrated. I didn't even mention the Casino, Riviera, and all the other models. The Alcaola. There's so many great models. I was mainly just talking about the solid bodies, But, you really owe it to yourself to go down the Epiphone rabbit hole. I mean, that Wilshire sold in the first couple of minutes. I mean, those are great guitars, and they're every bit. They're Gibsons, They're every bit as good as any Gibson of that era. I mean, they are Gibsons. They're just a little sleeker, I would think, like the graceful necks and the super lightweight bodies and the really cool smooth contours. They're a little more futuristic than the Gibsons. God, this guitar is so damn good. Listen to that. That's a cool lick. How do I do that? Let's see. Kind of like a parallel fourths all moving around. We'll talk about that in the Brett Papa videos. We'll get into all that shit. Okay, what else? I watched two amazing movies last night, back to back. Movies that I've seen a million times, but I'm obsessed with the whole Christopher Guest, Michael McKean thing. We watched, let's see, what was the first one? Mighty Wind, Into, Best in Show. My God. That shit makes me laugh so hard. I cannot believe how great those movies are. If you guys have never seen those, do yourself a favor. Mighty Wind and Best in Show. It's like comedy troupe acting, like the same actors in every movie, and they just they become totally different characters. Like really showing you how great of actors they all are. I mean, my favorite character in Best in Show is John Michael Higgins when he plays the gay guy, Scott. Oh my God. Everything he says just makes me cry laughing. I mean, that shit is amazing. God, I'd love to meet those people that make that stuff. It looks like they have so much fun making those movies, There's a couple VCBs here. Let's see. One guy said, have you ever been nervous on a session or a gig? I do remember one time, back in the early 2000s, I got booked to play acoustic guitar on a Brent Mayer session. Brent was a real well-known producer guy in Nashville. Lovely guy. Still around. He's amazing. He worked with Elvis, and he did all the old Judd's records, and produced all that stuff. Brent is a great dude. And he used to come to my shop all the time, but I remember he asked me to play acoustic one time on a Jody Messina Christmas record. This must have been like 2002 or something, 2004. And I showed up at the gig, and it was all sheet music. And I don't know how to read music. And I was like, hey, Brent, honey, I don't read music. And he's like, oh, don't worry, you'll get through it. You'll get through it. And oh my God. I mean, there's a full orchestra playing along with me, and I'm trying to read, and I can't read. I mean, all you got to do is play me something one time, and I can play it right back to you. But you don't have that luxury on these sessions. You have to read it. And dude, I was sweating bullets, boy. I got through it somehow, and it actually turned out to be a really good record. My mother used to listen to it over and over. Jody Messina's Christmas album. Chock full of acoustic guitar by Uncle Larry. But my sister used to love that too. Still loves it. My sister Joyce. Hello, Joyce. But yeah, boy, man, I was nervous as hell on that. Only because you got a 30-piece orchestra waiting on your ass. You know, and those guys are not fucking around. They know how to read. If you blow a cue, they just think you're a total idiot. And you are. And I was also a little nervous, I gotta tell you, on that gig I did. Remember when I fronted the band at 3rd and Lindsley? I was only nervous because I was afraid I was gonna get sick. You know, when you're a sideman on a road gig, if something happens, the gig gets canceled or the bus breaks down, it's funny. It's like you laugh. You're like, oh, great, gig's canceled that, great. But when it's your own gig, Jesus God, you have to prepare for days. Make sure you don't get sick. Make sure you're okay to play, you know, because there's a lot at stake. If you fucking lose this gig, if you can't do it, there's major problems. And it gave me a whole new respect for all the front people that I stood behind all these years, you know? Like, sidemen just don't ever think about that shit. You're just like, anything different, like anything that mixes up the normal routine for a sideman is fun. Bus breaks down, miss your flight, you know, gig doesn't show up, the gear doesn't show up at the gig, that's all fun. But man, when it's your gig and you're the front man, all that shit is a nightmare, you know? And, so yeah, I mean, I was pretty nervous only because I was just wondering if I was going to be in any kind of condition to play that gig. You know what I mean? Because nothing worse than trying to play when you're sick. Oh God. Okay. Man, this guitar plays amazing. Andy Jellison did a full restoration on this thing. The fret job is out of this world. Amazing. They only made less than 100 of these hollow body double necks in all configurations, and they wouldn't even build one unless somebody ordered it and paid for it. Apparently, the guy that built these, that carved the spruce tops on these, was deaf. He was deaf and he did that. Amazing, right? Let's see. One last question, then I'm gonna hang up. Have you ever recorded your? No. Have you ever heard yourself on recordings that you did a long time ago and been mortified? Yeah, for sure. Man, you wouldn't believe how many times, like I'm sitting in a restaurant with my kids or in a bar, you know, somewhere with some friends, and I'll hear some old records that I played on. They would constantly play through the speakers, and sometimes I go, yeah, that was cool. You know, most of the times I like it, but every once in a while I am aghast at how little I didn't know in those days, you know, because, you know, we're constantly growing as musicians and producers. It's more like the things that bother me on these old records are not so much the parts or whatever. It's just, I wasn't as great at getting tones as I ended up being later on. Like even that shit I just played, that Toby Keith thing, that was 20 some years ago. I would have never used that tone now. I would have gone for a way more mid-rangey tone that cuts through more. That tone disappears a little bit in the track to me. But I didn't know all that shit when I was a kid. You know, I was just kind of winging it. You know, and some of that stuff is good, but man, my ears are so much more laser focused now. Like I try to let the sound do the work now instead of trying to dig it out of the guitar. I dial up a sound that is going to just do all the work, and then I just barely play. And then you don't have to turn it up and it sounds amazing. I didn't know all that shit back in those days. Like, I didn't know how to get sounds like that, you know? So it's just years of doing it, right? So that's the kind of stuff that I usually am aghast at, is like, wow, I can't believe I used that sound, or I can't believe I didn't layer that a certain way, you know? Like, I got better at layering guitars later on, you know, and doing, like, you know, sort of guitar ensembles. Sometimes I hear some of the records I played on in the old days, and they feel empty to me because I didn't know how to really complete the picture, you know. But that's all just, you know, shit that you learn after decades of doing it, you know, and being in the studio, using the studio as an instrument, like all the greats did, you know. I'm just still learning because I'm a late bloomer. Okay, friends, hope you have a great day. I'll see you all at the track. Take care.